Having Nick back, what does it mean? One, just to have Nick back in the building, and obviously, how much does he help
Sure.
there, and where you guys kind of have a deficiency right
Well,
now?
good to see him. There's guys that come in and play for you and work with you and give you everything they got, and Nick was one of those guys. When he leaves, you wish him well, but you don't love to lose a guy like Nick, just from what he means in the locker room as well. And then with the injury to Luke, it just I know Andrew worked pretty quickly on that one, and get a guy in here that as coaches we know well, obviously his teammates know him well, and we'll get him up to speed on some of the new things.
Kevin, was there anyone you mentioned yesterday, you maybe have some updates, was there anyone that got hurt Saturday outside of Luke that you're concerned about missing some time here now?
You'd have to help me. Who specifically?
Starting with Ronnie?
I'll say this. For everybody, we'll work through these. Some will be day-to-day. Ronnie won't be out there today, but they'll all kind of rehab appropriately.
What about David Bell? Will he be out there today?
Won't be out there today. Took a good shot there. So we'll hold him out probably for a week or two.
Did it happen on that Tillman pass interference play?
I think so, yeah. Maybe it was the first one, the one before that, the third down before that. And also maybe that one as well.
Kevin, with Nick, I know that there's a comfort level just being in the building, but you guys changed offensive line coaches and changed the system a little bit. Like, how much learning does he have to do at this point?
It's some. Obviously, I'll let Nick can probably answer that better in about 2 days. He's very smart. He'll pick it up, no problem.
What does it say? Go ahead.
With David being out for a week or two, he was having a really nice camp. I know he's Mr. Reliable for you guys. Do you expect that? I mean, he already made a pretty strong case for himself, and he'll pick right back up?
Without a doubt. And this is part of it, Mary Kay. You don't like to see injuries, whether they're long-term, short-term, whatever they are. But he'll continue to rehab, and we'll get him out here sooner than later.
Kevin, last week we asked you about a play that Emerson made on Jerry Judy here on the side, and you mentioned that you texted him, and that led him telling us that he has a really good memory. He was beaten on that play last year, and that's how he made the right play. So what have you seen in that aspect of his game?
Yeah, he's a very cerebral young man. He certainly works at this. He studies. So I'm not surprised at all to know that he felt that route prior. So a young player that I think I like to watch how he prepares, like to watch how he works. And that's just a young player taking the next step in your game is really studying and understanding your opponent.
Kevin, you got the joint practices obviously coming up this week. From a coaching standpoint, joint practices versus like the preseason, you guys feel like you can get as much, if not more, done in those than you do in a preseason game?
I do, and I like that you can have controlled settings. I like that both sides can feel confident that their quarterbacks are going to stay upright. And I like that you can script practice and get a bunch of different situations, whether it be third down, 2 minute, what have you. If for us, sometimes you go through a game and you don't get a 2 minute per se, or the 3rd and 3 doesn't show up for you, those type of things. So it allows us to really get intentional work, if you will.
Kevin, the joint practice thing's becoming more prevalent around the NFL. I know it's something that you really believe in. When you guys have your off-season meetings amongst the head coaches at the league level, do you guys talk about maybe trying to revamp the preseason so it's more productive for you guys as a team, as individual teams and coaches?
Not necessarily to that extent, Daryl. Obviously, you talk a lot about different things that you do, and certainly joint practices are one of those things, and talk to different coaches which week they like to do them and why. So you certainly talk about those things, but in terms of how the preseason is structured, that's not something that I really discuss with the other coaches.
Why have you never done 2 of them in the same game? You're against that?
I like week 2, just philosophically. We feel like week 1, you're still in your installation schedule. Week 3, we like to treat as a regular season schedule. So week 2 is really the perfect time that I think to get some work done.
What do you get out of a preseason game that you don't get out of a joint practice? Why both?
Well, the game's on the schedule, so we got to play the game. And then we like to bring the team in here for a couple days and get good work at those drills like we talked about. We'll be able to do one-on-one drills. We'll be able to do the kickoff drill. Those type of things that allow you to do it in a controlled setting.
Could you potentially get more out of either subtracting a preseason game, adding another joint practice, or just jiggering that schedule in any way?
Good question. I know that's something that has come up with preseason games. Obviously I can think back to when it was 4 games back in the day, and we had 4 last year, so we'll adjust to whatever the league puts out there.
Don't you need the games for the younger players that don't get the reps?
I think you do, and I also think it's important that their resume gets out there. We can't keep every player, although I would love to. So the tape is your resume, and a lot of those guys go out there and put on put great tape out there, and it might turn into a job somewhere else if we don't have a spot for them.
When you talk about playing the Vikings team, it's different than because there's specific, or what are the specific things that will benefit you by having whatever they do different?
Yeah, Coach Flores does a great job on their defensive side, so it'll be very different from our front. And then Coach is known for a lot of pressure, which we need a lot of work at that, so that'd be great. And then different personnel, certainly the outside linebackers, more standing up than our 4 down. And then on the offensive side, Coach O'Connell and Wes Phillips do a great job with a bunch of different schemes that are very difficult. We share some DNA in what they do offensively, but they also do some really interesting things in the pass game and the run game.
Jordan hasn't had his full plethora of receiving targets so far this camp. Do you expect him to have everyone out there for? I know you said he's going to get majority of the reps.
Yeah, I think it's trending that way. Yeah, guys are getting better. It's all part of it.
Jordan Hicks, I know he played for the Vikings. You expect him back today, this week?
I'd say he's week to week. Yeah.
Kevin, Anthony Bell hasn't practiced at all yet. Do you have an update on him?
No update other than he's rehabbing and doing well.
Coach, what about Tommy Rees makes him a good addition to this coaching staff?
I'm sorry, one more time.
What about Tommy Rees makes him a good addition to this coaching staff?
Yeah, Tommy's doing a great job. Tommy and I, we really met a few years back through a mutual friend. Tommy came up and visited with us, talked shop, if you will, and then with this season he was a free agent and he was available, and we were able to bring him up here, and he's been in the NFL before. He's with the Chargers a while back when they were the San Diego Chargers, I believe. But I think it's good to have him at this level. I think he's provides a ton of input to our offensive staff and is doing a nice job with the tight ends.
Is John Kelly somebody that you could see coming back here, or did the fumble loom large in his
Oh,
decision?
no, potentially. Yeah, injuries are really tough right now, and trying to find spots where we can get some healthy bodies, and that's what it is. But, yeah, potentially could come back.
Obviously very familiar with the Vikings organization. Has there been any friendly banter back and forth between you and them?
There really hasn't. I'm excited to see some of the people that are there and throughout the organization, but I think both sides have been kind of busy.
Any thoughts on Game 3? How many guys you'll play yet, or not looking that far ahead, I would assume?
I'll stick with that answer. I like that, Tony. Not looking that far ahead.
But would the joint practices play into what you do, or do you know what you're going to do?
We have a plan. We've been pretty consistent with what we've done over the years, give or take a few players, give or take a few reps and those type of things. So we have a plan. I think it's important to see how you come out of the practice this week before you really make the final say on what you're going to do in that last week.
Can you share, if you will, play Deshaun in that third and final?
Yeah, that's the plan. Yep. Okay, thanks, guys.
Thank you.